Do you look like somebody who works out every day? Do you look like somebody who eats pretty good? Because that's what I hear a lot. I eat pretty good. I work out every day. I don't know why. I don't know why I don't have the abs. I don't know why I haven't lost this last 15 pounds. If you don't know why, I would argue that you are unconsciously incompetent. You do not know what you do not know. And you have not developed the skills yet. And that's okay. My name is Brian Panizzo. I am a former bond trader turned executive health and performance coach. I build systems financial professionals can finally live with for good. I know your world from the inside because I lived it for 20 years. Your career runs on systems. Your life outside the office should too. Welcome back to the show. This is the Success Lift podcast, and I appreciate you being back with me again. Coming off a phenomenal trip with my son to Houston, Texas last week. Actually, at the time of this recording, when I'm speaking into the camera right now, I just got back a couple hours ago, so fresh out of my mind. The energy is still high. This podcast is not going to be about our entire experience. I'm sure I'll talk more about it in some of my other places, like my pieces of content that I drop, my daily email list. If you're not on that, you should be. I get phenomenal feedback on the podcast and my email list. We'll drop the link in the show notes. It's usually always there. And it just reminded me of a couple of quotes I really like and I don't even know where they're from. So I didn't make them up, and I'm not going to take the time to look them up, but I recite these a lot recently. I look at them a fair bit over the last several months. And that is, you retire on your memories, okay? And your life is the sum of your experiences. And I heard both of those at another experience that my wife and I were just at, a couples retreat in Mexico with Dan Martell. And I heard both of those there. I don't think those are Dan's quotes. I think he took them from someone else, and I think he gave credit. I just didn't write who the credit was. I just wrote down the quote because they were important to me and powerful. And I've been thinking about those quotes for the last month or so since we've been home. And so got an opportunity to take my son to the World Baseball Classic. I'm fortunate to have two friends who are on the Team USA coaching staff. One is a friend from high school. The other is a good friend named Sean Casey, who has been a great mentor to my son over the last 4 or 5 years. And we were on the phone about a month ago. He told me that D-Row, Mark DeRosa, who's the manager, who's my friend from Bergen Catholic High School in New Jersey, asked him to be the hitting coach. And he suggested that we take a trip to Houston to see some baseball, to maybe get around the team a little bit. And we were able to get on the field for batting practice before their game against Italy. We were able to spend some time with Sean and his family, see some players, get some autographs, take some pics. It was pretty cool for a 48-year-old man, but especially for a 16-year-old baseball player who has aspirations to be on that field one day. And my son would most certainly like to play for Team USA, but he also realized that because of my wife's dad, Papa, my late father-in-law, Rocco Blasi, he's second generation Italian, and that qualifies him for Italy. So we got two shots here. We got two shots at the World Baseball Classic at some point in the next 10 years for my son. So listen, if you don't set high goals and expectations for yourself, you'll never achieve them. All right. And so while some of the things that maybe I say like that, like my son wants to play in the World Baseball Classic, like this is now a 16-year-old young man. This is not a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old boy, right? Where they say these things like, I want to be an NBA player. I want to play in the major leagues. And of course we encourage them to do that and to think that. But at some point you start to realize the work and talent that is required. More importantly, the work, because there are a ton of people who are talented. My son is very talented. My son is fortunate to be a 6'5" left-handed pitcher. For some of you who understand what that means in baseball, that's a big deal. That is a massive advantage to anyone else trying to play baseball. And it's going to provide him some opportunities that a 5'11" right-handed pitcher may not get. But make no mistake, he's going to have to work his you-know-what off in order to get anywhere near that goal. And the reality is he may work his you-know-what off and still not reach it. But he's super, super excited about the process. And that's something we talk about a lot, is the process. He has a mental performance coach who's a close friend of mine, Brian Kane, and he's working with one of his coaches right now as well. And Brian constantly talks about process. In fact, somewhere behind me here, I have my own mental performance certification from Brian Kane. And so I talk a lot about process. Now, I don't know if you guys caught that, but I pay someone else to coach my son the same principles that I am certified to coach myself. All my parents out there know exactly how that works. Your kids aren't going to listen to you, but they'll listen to somebody else. And so process is very big in my life. Process is very big in the life of an athlete, an elite athlete. And why I talked all about that stuff over the last couple of minutes is one, just to let you know what's going on in my life, maybe a little flex. Got to be on the field before the USA baseball game, no big deal. Got to take some pictures with some players, no big deal. No, why I really bring that up is because ultimately high level performance comes down to process and standards, all right, and systems. And that's why I talk so much about systems. Your career runs on systems. Your life outside the office should too, all right? And that's why we help people like you build systems for your life outside the office, because like I said last week, you have them in the office. You know your numbers. And over the last few weeks, I've talked a bit about some accomplishments of mine, right? Some milestones. And I hope that you got the context out of that and not just the victory lap that I was on, telling you in episode 300 about my 300th podcast episode, which is a weekly commitment for nearly 6 years, which is pretty cool, right? But I talked about how that can apply to your life. So go check out that episode. And then last week, I talked about my 500 plus day streak of tracking food. And again, not just patting myself on the back, although of course I did that. I deserve that after 500 plus straight days and going and continuing to go. But I talked about how it could be beneficial for you and what you can take away from it and implement into your own life. So I would also encourage you to go back and look and listen to that one as well. What I thought about as I listened, especially to last week's, because oftentimes I'll listen to the podcast for the first time. I trust my editor, and I don't actually listen to the finished product until it drops on Monday. So it's a surprise for me, just like it is for you. And on Monday morning, I have a great routine, systems, routines. You feel me? You're picking up on what I'm putting down right now. I have a process of waking up, getting a little bit of work done, and then going and taking a nice long walk. Bring the dog out. Sometimes I then drop the dog off and I go continue out and go. I don't go to the gym first thing Monday morning because my work day is usually pretty busy and the kids get going early. And so I use my early morning for work, some reflection, and some movement. Now, maybe you just thought to yourself, what about planning, Brian? When do you plan? You've been talking all about these systems and planning. I don't plan on Monday. Monday's already too late. We plan on Sundays inside my program. I ask you to get accountable to yourself on a Sunday for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Like, let's enjoy our families and enjoy our day off. But let's take 10, 15 minutes, maybe even 5 some weeks, right? Sometimes I only have 5 minutes on a Sunday to actually plan out our week. Put ourselves in the calendar. When are we working out? When do we go on dates? When are we committing time to ourselves? 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes. Whatever it is per day that you got, I want you to do it. But most people don't. So we wake up on Monday and then we start to think about all right, what do I got to do this week? What are my goals? Okay. And then we're doing it while we're on our phones. And then so all of a sudden we get distracted by an email or social media or text messages that come in or news or all of it. And all of a sudden we got to get to work. And we stay in the cycle that we're in of continuous busyness, lost, stressed, feeling like the entire work week in your career has a stranglehold on you. And that's something that we attack immediately with the people that come inside of our ecosystem. And so as I listened to last week's podcast, I started to talk about some of the how. And when it comes to tracking your food and what to do and why controlling things like ingredients changes things and getting comfortable with data and all this stuff. And I started to think, and I did mention it a couple times, but I didn't dive into it. And that's what the meat and potatoes, as they say, of the podcast this week is going to be about, is this concept of skill development, all right? This concept that living an elite lifestyle is actually a skill you develop. Now, I totally understand that there is a part of you that may have heard me just say that and go, what are you talking about, dude? Like I know what to do. I just choose not to do it. And while I would have agreed with you for most of my life, now that I have had the reps put in, the experience, the years, 6+ years, 7 years of working with people just like you, in fact, some of you who are actually listening, so thank you, I realize something. We all know what not to do. We all know what not to do. We all know not to sit on the couch. We all know not to drink too much. We all know not to eat like absolute slobs, like we're going to the electric chair. But most people, at least the people that I attract, for the most part, are not those people. Like, at some point, if you've given up on the basics of health and wellness, I'm going to annoy you and you're going to tune me out. Where I'm really starting to attract more and more people into our ecosystem are the people who care, are the people who have tried, are the people who continually they are not getting the result that they want, despite them feeling like they're taking a lot of action, consistent action, maybe falling off a bit, but then starting over again or whatever. But like thinking that they're doing the right things. And I've realized that, you know, the old phrase, you don't know what you don't know. And there are 4 stages of learning that I've learned that human beings go through. The first one is unconscious incompetence. And that is, you don't know what you don't know. And in some respects, sometimes it's not your fault, as they say. My job is to help a lot of people go from unconscious incompetence, because here's the thing. If you don't know where your blind spots are, if you don't know where the problems are, you don't know what to fix. And that's rule number 1, is understanding what is it that I need to fix. And so until we get a sense for, oh man, I don't got this. This isn't a discipline thing. This isn't a motivation thing for me. This isn't to just wake up and bang my head against the wall enough times and ultimately it's going to work. It's you learning what actually does work. And so I help a lot of my clients go from unconsciously competent immediately to what we would call consciously incompetent. I just told you. Now you know. And if you don't know, now you know, as Biggie Smalls said. Now you know that you're effing it up. And once you know you're effing it up, if you're open to suggestions, if you're open to coaching, if you're willing to try another way, you can succeed, because you'll then make your way up the chain to conscious competence. You actually have to try to do the thing that you want to do. Sometimes you screw it up and you go back to consciously incompetent, but you never leave the conscious state for a period of time. Once you spend probably a decade, like I have, in certain areas of this, you then may be able to move to unconscious incompetence. Think of the Dalai Lama. Think of me, who goes on a trip with my son, who knows what to bring, who knows how to order at restaurants, who knows how to get quick workouts in, who knows how to find steps throughout the airport and micro ones during the day, who can lay out their travel plans in unfamiliar environments, who knows to look ahead at restaurant menus if they're going to go into something that might be a caloric bomb, who knows when, as we said in the beginning of the podcast, to pull off at the side of the road in order to take a rest stop because you're in Texas and there's a pretty damn good brisket sandwich on the menu, and I'm gonna eat that shit. And so you need to know these moments, all right? But it's a skill that you develop. And most people let their ego get in the way, or the fact that they're just flat out unconsciously incompetent. And I have like so many examples of this. I mean, like literally today at the time of this recording, I have 2 text messages from clients basically saying to me this like mea culpa of like, I didn't know that I didn't know shit. I didn't know that what I was eating every day was hundreds, if not over 1,000 calories too much because of just inefficiency. And these are people that are going to the gym every day. These are people who are trying to order healthy at lunch. These are people who think they are doing the right thing by not eat, and this is not specific to a particular client, just randomly. How many times have you just grabbed a banana and had a coffee, thinking that you're just going to grind your way through the morning because you're never really hungry anyway, and you're busy. You know, you're just going to like fast a bit, you know, and you don't eat breakfast, and so like everything like kind of falls apart a little bit. You at lunch or maybe middle of the afternoon, because you have no plan for when you get hungry, and so. I've had so many conversations over the last 6 years with clients like this, but just this past like 12 hours, I've gotten a couple of texts from guys about they realize that they're not doing some of the things that we do that are just like standard operating procedures inside the program. Okay. And so what I want to do is always, like, I don't want to just talk high level and theoretical with you. I don't want to be like a lot of therapists, and no disrespect to people who go to therapy or who are therapists who are listening. I think that's very valuable if you find the right relationship. But for me, most of the therapists in my life have always talked at this 30,000 foot view. And I leave every appointment going, what the fuck do they want me to do? I'm not sure. Like what can I put into action right now? You know? And so I'm as I've always said, I am about that action. I am an action taker. Give me something to do. Give me a list. All right? STD, shit to do. I got shit to do. I need to know, what can I execute right now? And that's what we help clients do on a weekly basis. We take them out of the clouds and into the dirt. And we get them focused with blinders on, like a horse, like a thoroughbred, sprinting down the backstretch. We get them focused on a couple of things that are going to move the needle for them this particular week. And so what are some typical things where people need to develop better skills? What do we usually see? We see it very often in some of the very basic foundational areas of health and fitness. At least I do inside this program on a very regular basis, like repeated over and over again. Right? People don't know what actually to eat. You know what to not eat. All right? I'm not here to tell you that you should stop eating, fast food and drinking alcohol 5-6 days a week. I don't really attract that type of client anymore. I attract the type of client who is doing paleo, CrossFit 7 days a week, not getting the results that they want, or these are all generalizations. It's like starving themselves, then binging a bit, trying to cut out alcohol, then not. Like these cycles of challenges and rinse repeat of, fasting or just not being efficient with their time. And I don't need to tell you how little you have. And so we look at that time. How much time do you have? I have clients who have 25 minutes in their day to get a workout in. And that's it. They got nothing else. And so if I'm going to tell you that you need to commit to 90 minutes, 3 to 4 days a week or 5 days a week, or you need to do this, complicated morning routine in order to be successful, what good is that going to do you? And so what do we do with people like this? Well, 25 minutes we maximize. Now, are there little holes in their day here and there? Yeah, always. Always. Do they have to really maximize their weekends? 100%. So we take a customized solution approach to your customized life. Now, I'm an entrepreneur now. I can, if I want to, block 90 minutes in my day in order to go to the gym, get some cardio in, do some mobility, whatever, right? I do work every day. I work on my business every single day, Saturdays and Sundays. Now, am I putting 10-hour days in on those days? No, of course not. Sometimes, maybe, if I needed to, I would, but no. But because I can do that, I have more flexibility. I can block out 90 minutes on a Tuesday. Some of you, most of you, I would argue, can't do that. And so I don't tell you what I do and make you do what I do. You would fail miserably in a moment, not because I'm better than you, because I have a different lifestyle than you now. But don't forget, I sat in your seat. I know your life. And so I can apply the principles of what I do and help you customize the individual action steps. And so what are some skills that you should be developing? Well, you should be developing the skill of understanding how to, as we talked about last week, know what you're putting in your mouth. How do you track your calories? Do you have to weigh your food like I do and enter it into an app? You don't. Cool. If that's a non-starter for you, first off, I would challenge you as to why. Why, for a period of time, could you not take 30 seconds every time you are going to put something in your mouth and actually figure out what the caloric intake is and then put it into an app? That's what it takes. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Now, if you have a meal of maybe 6 or 7 items, we might push past 60 seconds. So let me just be completely accurate and not sell you a bag of goods. Is that the right phrase? Sell you a bag of goods? I don't know. All right. 30 to 60 seconds each time you eat. How many times how many times a day do you eat? What are we talking about here? 3 minutes of your day? You got 3 minutes to ensure that you get more educated about a skill that you can take with you for the rest of your life. So if I was just starting out right now at 48 years old, I could spend 12 months getting to really understand the X's and O's of like, what are the best choices for body composition? What is the bucket of lean protein sources that I should be consuming? We tell clients what that is. What are the high fiber, high volume foods that I should be consuming? What foods are calorically dense, like we talk about inside my program? Where should you either limit or stay away from when you're in a fat loss phase? What foods can easily blow up your calories? How big of an impact is alcohol having on your performance? How likely and tied to higher caloric, highly processed, right? Think bar food. If you and I go out to a bar and catch up, we're very capable of ordering grilled chicken salads, but the likelihood is we might get wings and beers. And so a lot of times our alcohol consumption just influences our food choices, or we're in environments where they're very commonly commingled. So we help you understand those situations. Should you avoid it? Should you take the rest stop and just enjoy the connection with your friend or whoever it is that you're meeting? Is this client dinner really an appropriate one for you to go off the rails? And when I say off the rails, I don't even mean off the rails. Like the trip that I was just on is a perfect example. I was with my son for a great experience in Houston, Texas. Now, let's look at it in its totality. I was there on a Monday and a Tuesday, and we flew back very early Wednesday morning. And so, first of all, it's Monday and Tuesday. For me, I don't know about you, but I think about Monday and Tuesday a lot different than I think about maybe Friday and Saturday. Next up, I'm with my son. So does that mean that I have to rack up 4 to 5 beers a day or 4 to 5 drinks a day just because I'm at a ballpark, just because I'm at a restaurant, just because I'm at an airport, just because I'm away from home? Like that's what some of us, I'm raising my hand for those of you not on YouTube right now, because I used to do this all the time. That's what we do. It's like, well, why did you have 10 drinks over the last 48 hours? Well, I don't know, because I left home. What? Yeah, I just wasn't home. I was in an airport, so I had a beer before the plane. Then I had a couple of drinks on the plane. If I'm in first class, they're free, right? Then I went out for dinner or drink or lunch when we got there. So I had 2 beers there. Then I went to 2 baseball games. So I had 3 each at the baseball games of the doubles. Well, it's like, I don't know, man. I'm with my son. We're at baseball. Like, do I have to drink? No. Did I drink? Yeah. I had like a 24-ounce hard seltzer one night, and I didn't drink on Tuesday. I had 3 sips of a beer with a brisket sandwich on Monday afternoon, and then, because the beer came too late, we were ready to go. Otherwise, I would have drank it. Then I had 3/4 of that hard seltzer, and that was it. It was Monday night. Like, what am I doing? And so we just go into these familiar environments with familiar behavior, and we help you break that pattern to understand, like, well, what's efficient and what's not. And so we help you understand, how does alcohol contribute to calories, total caloric intake? How likely are you to pair even more calories with the empty calories that already exist in alcohol? Alcohol is a toxin, is a poison. I am sorry to bust or break anyone's bubble. Like, there is literally nothing other than maybe the social aspect and the slight calming effect for you to unwind and de-stress. I would argue there are way healthier ways to do that, but there is some benefit to it. Other than that, 0 health benefits. It is a poison that we, not you, we put in our bodies. So we start to think about, like, what should I be eating in my familiar environment? How do I make food readily available? Should I have some lean ground beef and rice always in my fridge? The answer to that is rhetorical. That is a rhetorical question. Yes, it is. Yes, you should. Brian, I don't like rice. Cool. Have sweet potato. I don't know. Like, just don't make it so complicated. Make it chicken if you don't like ground beef. I don't know. What fiber should I have, Brian? Well, that's all fruits and vegetables, basically. Let's keep that simple. Are there higher fiber, lower calorie ones than others? Yeah. Are we splitting hairs? Yeah. Does it ultimately matter for you? Probably not. So eat the ones you enjoy. What's better, Brian? Brown rice or white rice? They're the same. Eat whatever one you want. There's so many misconceptions about nutrition and fitness and everything. Like, I now remember saying something about, like, people, influencers last week, and people portraying their lives. There's so much bullshit out there in terms of information because they're coming from bullshit people who live fake lives, who turn off the camera and have all the same problems, if not more, than you do. And oh, by the way, they're fucking broke, most of them. And no disrespect, you could be very knowledgeable and not have a lot of money. It doesn't mean that if you do have a lot of money, you are knowledgeable, because I know some people who have a ton of money and ain't that smart. They're just in the right place at the right time, and they worked hard, or they had the right connections. Right, so learning what to do, learning how to eat, learning what to eat, right? Learning how to put yourself in the calendar on Sunday, not Monday, Sunday. Learning that your 45-minute workout 3, 4, or even 5 days a week is not even remotely as important as you managing calories, moving your ass throughout the day more. What do you mean by that, Brian? Moving my ass throughout the day. I get my workout in every day. I hear you. Do you look like you get your workout in every day? You know how many people I know that go to the gym every day, and I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. If you're going to the gym every day, or 4 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever it is, and you don't look like you're somebody who goes to the gym every single day, I would ask you, is what you're doing working? I get stopped very regularly, to the point now where it's getting a little bit comical. Now, again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but here it comes, toot. And I do realize that I'm a big dude. I'm 6'6". It does help. It does help draw attention. But I have random people, like, talk to me about, hey man, you should really work out, or a car stopping me on the side of the road as I'm walking the other day for my son's baseball game to get a bottle of water because I was early and they were warming up. And a guy at a red light saying out the window, that he would like to look like me. Not in a really weird, creepy way either. It's like, do you look like the product of somebody who puts in the effort that you are? That's what I'm asking you to. I'm not like trying to make this about this weird pat on the back for me. Do you look like somebody who works out every day? Do you look like somebody who eats pretty good? Because that's what I hear a lot. I eat pretty good. I work out every day. I don't know why. I don't know why I don't have the abs. I don't know why I haven't lost his last 15 pounds. If you don't know why, I would argue that you are unconsciously incompetent. You do not know what you do not know. And you have not developed the skills yet. And that's okay. Because I didn't have the skills either until probably about 40. Now, I started to do some things and I stumbled upon things when I was 37, 11 years ago. But I didn't realize that I didn't know that I was doing some of the right things until a few years later. Then I got really knowledgeable about it. Then I started to put it even more and more into practice in my life. Then I got really detailed, maybe at a level that is not necessary for you right now. Maybe 5 years from now, yes. I have people who come through my program who lose 25 pounds, who still need to lose 8 to 12 pounds to see their abs, who probably should get stronger and change their body composition. And they go, I'm good. I'm genuinely good and I'm happy. I have less joint pain. I have more energy. My wife is more attracted to me. I feel more confident about myself. I'm okay. I don't need to build that lean muscle tissue that you're telling me that everyone really secretly wants. They do want it. They just haven't gotten there yet. But I don't push them because they've gotten themselves to a healthy point and they're genuinely happy with how they look and feel and they can operate better. So everybody needs to find what works for them ultimately. But in order to get to that place, you have to know these things. You have to know what to do. And there's a spectrum, for lack of a better phrase, right? And you move up it as you go. So you maybe shouldn't do what I do. I don't suggest clients do what I do. I do everything that I ask them to do because I'm a leader, because I'm their example, because I don't throw stones from a glass house, because I want them to see what it looks like. We have a group forum inside of my client app. I'm in there 2 to 3 times a day, posting content, ideas, showing them what I'm doing in my life, giving them little ideas. I save my best stuff for in there. If you follow me on LinkedIn or on Instagram, or you're on my email list, you get a lot of my free stuff. My paid stuff is pretty good. It's pretty good. At least I've been told. And so you may be focused on the wrong things. You may be thinking that you're eating pretty good. You may be thinking that you're checking a box by working out. But if you're sitting on your ass the rest of the day and you're doing a workout that's inefficient for the result that you want, understand, if you're looking for body composition, lose body fat, put on lean muscle, look more athletic. Most guys I know would love to look more athletic. I look like an athlete. Now, I got gray hair all over the side of my head, so I'm not sure what some of these people are thinking about when they ask me these questions about me playing a sport or being a pro or something. Look at my hair. Can't you tell that I'm in my late 40s? But I don't look it. Maybe if you're looking at me straight on, you can't see the gray yet. And that's pretty cool. Again, does it help that I'm a tall guy? Yeah. But could I look really awkward and weird as a tall guy? Hell yeah. I see a lot of them. I would not be getting asked these questions if I didn't look the way I do. If I wasn't 6'6", 225 pounds and about 12% body fat on a DEXA scan. I always have to add that. My ego never allows me to tell people my body fat without putting the asterisk that it's a DEXA scan, which for some people who know, is a probably more rigorous body fat test. And so for everyone who jumps on one of those scales with the handles or whatever, and you say that you're 8% body fat, you're not. It's okay, but you're not. And so my body fat would likely be pretty low on one of those, probably in the high single digits somewhere. See, I can't say it. It's like my ego. My ego won't let me do it. Thanks for being here for me. Thanks for my therapy session. But if I wasn't 12% body fat, asterisk on a DEXA, I wouldn't get asked these questions. If I was 182 pounds because I was skinny as hell, or if I was 295 pounds because I was obese, people wouldn't say shit to me. They would just look at me and go, whoa, that guy's tall, that guy's fat, that guy looks like a lurch. Nah, I look like an athlete, baby. I'm proud of that. That's what I want. I want to also perform like an athlete. So let me wrap this up, put it up in a bow for you, all right? You're lacking skills. That cost is massive. Because here's the thing. To invest into learning those skills, at least with someone like me, will cost you money. Can you afford it? Yeah, you can. Everyone that I work with can. You tell yourself you can't, maybe, but you can. Will you have those skills when you leave me? When you leave a program like mine or some of the other amazing ones out there? Yes, you will. What is the most important thing? That you can never unlearn them. You can choose not to do them, but you can't unlearn them. You're not just, this isn't like, my program isn't a 6-month transformation program. This is a lifelong lifestyle change. Lifelong. Because once you know, you can't unknow it. And it becomes really hard to not do it once you realize the value. Once you realize how efficient your life can become. Once you realize that you don't have to puke when you work out in order to get a great workout in. I rarely sweat when I work out. I don't do a lot of cardio. Now I need to do more for my cardiovascular health. I can see my abs, people, and I don't sweat and I don't do cardio. And some of you out there are busting your ass in these workouts, flopping around all over the gym floor, running around from machine to machine, eating pretty good in the biggest air quotes I can possibly put, because you're not. You just don't know. And you don't have the result that you want. And yet you continue to do the same thing. And as I always use the analogy, if you did this in your business, you would realize it's insanity from like minute 4, and you would stop. You would figure out you would hire the consultants, you would bring in the teams, you would have the meetings, and you would figure it the F out. And yet you just stay in the same cul-de-sac, round and around and around and around in your personal life. And please, pull out of the street, get on the highway and start driving. If it's with me in a program like mine, you know how to find us. Brian@thesuccesslift.com, or text me 917-709-4283, or take some of the things that I mentioned for free all the time for free, and apply it yourself. Or go hire another great coach. I don't care. I just want you to get great results. I appreciate you. I'll see you back here next week.